heading downstairs to the kitchen, getting himself a midnight snack. And I can guess what kind.
Hello, this is Robert Rodriguez, and it's time for another edition of the 10-Minute Cooking School, Sin City Breakfast Tacos. Over here at Troublemaker Studios when we're working late at night, as I am right now, doing this DVD material. Problem you come into is around 3, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning, you get hungry. And it feels a little late to have a big dinner, even though it's probably about dinner time on our schedule, and a little early for breakfast. So what do? Breakfast tacos. The all-around great meal any time of the day or night. And a little bit of a warning. Once you learn how to make this, you will crave it every day and every night for the rest of your life, like I do. And I gotta say, the reason I'm even back is because so many of you came up to me and told me that you made the last recipe on the last DVD. And that was a tough one. So this one's an easy one, but it's probably my favorite meal of all. First step, flour tortillas. Get those flour tortillas, the ones you usually find at the store, you know, they feel like rubber. Get them out of your fridge and throw them in the trash. They are garbage. I'm going to show you how to make homemade flour tortillas. My grandmother's recipe, Momo Severina. We're going to start with 2 cups of flour, half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, not baking soda, baking powder. Now you're going to need to use a fat of some sort. I like to use butter, 1/4 cup of butter. Lard is probably best if you're going to want to make it right and not have it be too dry. So for this recipe, I'm going to do half lard, half butter, total about a 1/4 cup of fat. And you can use a hand mixer or one of those pastry cutters, fork, a knife, or just your hands. You just want to crumble the fat inside of the flour. What you're looking for is a coarse texture, almost like cornmeal texture. Squeeze it in your hand. It should bind for a moment and then break apart. That's about right. Any more and it's too greasy, any less and it's too dry. Put in about 3/4 cup of warm water, or hot water if you're using more lard. Mix it in with some of the flour. As it starts to clump together and get moist, put some of it aside. Add a little more water to what's left, and you'll start getting a feel for it. It shouldn't be too sticky and it shouldn't be too dry. You got to knead it in your hands or in the mixer for a couple of minutes. Here we go. And it should feel smooth and elastic. Now break it up into about 8 to 10 golf ball sized balls, and then dampen a cloth with warm water and put it on top of there and let it sit for a good 20 minutes while you go do these other things. Now the kind of breakfast tacos we're going to make are potato and egg, which is my favorite, where it's more potato than it is egg. And we'll do one variation, which is a migas type thing. So get a potato, peel it, chop it, use corn oil. Fry up your potatoes in there. They're really like Mexican French fries. That's why they taste so good. Make sure you put some salt on it. Use kosher salt or sea salt, some pepper. And you don't want to have it on higher than maybe a medium heat. You want it to be crisp but not too toasted. Now for the variation, let's get some corn tortillas, dice it, some tomato, onion, and jalapeno, dice that. What we're going to do is when we're finished with our potatoes, and you'll know when they're finished, they should be tender all the way through. Add some salt right away, add some pepper, and taste it. You should be able to eat it right off the plate, and it should taste great. If it tastes good on the plate here, it's going to taste even better when it's in with the eggs. Set that aside, and then using the oil that you already had for the potatoes, go ahead and throw in your corn tortillas. We're going to fry up some migas. Set a Teflon pan at medium-high. Let that get hot while you start preparing your tortillas. Flatten them into discs, and then roll them out. Couple of rolls each, just to kind of stretch them out. If you use lard, they're really going to roll out easy. Once your tortillas are done, pull those out, drain those, add salt, add some pepper, and taste it. Drain the oil from the pan and throw in your onions, tomatoes, and jalapenos, and start cooking that down for a few minutes. Now when your pan for the tortillas is nice and hot, give your tortillas one more rolling and then lay it on top. Wait about 8 seconds and then flip it. It should have a little bit of coloring already just after a few seconds. Then you know your pan is hot enough. And then let it cook for about a minute and a half. You'll start to notice it's going to bubble up. Let it bubble. If it starts darkening too quick, turn the heat down. If it's not darkening soon enough, it should only take about a minute to a minute and a half to cook each side. Then it's not hot enough. Flip it over and start pressing on it with a spatula. And you'll see, just press on the edges and you'll see it start to bubble up even more. It'll start to poof up with air. That's a good sign. That means your baking powder is working, and it also means it's cooking on the inside really well. Have a towel ready or a tortilla holder with a towel inside. Throw your cooked tortillas in there and keep them warm. And let's get ready to make our potato and egg. So get some low-fat cooking spray. Just kidding. Use butter. Throw some butter in there. Have it at about a medium heat, medium to medium high, just to get the butter sizzling, and then turn it down to about medium before you add your eggs. Add your eggs in, and then put in your potatoes. Now you don't want to swirl it around too much. You don't want to be turning it too much. Let it start setting a little bit, and then when you do move the egg around, move it a little bit, move it slow, and you don't want to overcook them. You want to turn off the heat before it overcooks. In the same pan or in a separate pan, you can go ahead and get ready to make your next set of eggs, which is jalapeno, onion and tomato, and your corn tortilla chips. And now you've got two swell-looking plates of great breakfast taco egg. When all your tortillas are cooked, you're ready to chow. Get your tortilla, fill it with some egg, and you've got Sin City breakfast tacos. This is a great meal late at night or early in the morning, or at any time really. This is the late night food that kept us going all through the making of Sin City. So keep at it, keep learning dishes, keep practicing them, keep adding on to your household menu. Because remember, not knowing how to cook is like not knowing how to fuck. Enjoy your tacos.